Hello, Governor. This is Rakai Steve, NupeFromDaVille, and I want to thank you for another Friday deep dive live stream. Centel should be showing up. It's rare. Like, if you're in the Discord, you know that usually I'm the one who shows up a little bit late. So it's rare that I ever beat him somewhere. So it's kind of cool. But I do already have one of our guests, Frank. He's in the back. He's in the green room waiting on me. And today I wanted to talk about movies and TV shows that had huge, significant cultural impacts. Yesterday was Juneteenth, and on my show Bingeworthy, which is on the Geekish Network on YouTube, so the youtube.com, the Geekish Network, we covered Netflix's show Forever, because I thought that was a really great show, poignant about navigating love and adolescence, as Black teenagers. But it's not really a show about Black teenagers. It just happens to be about Black teenagers. Like, what does that mean? No, what that means is the book. It was originally a book called Forever, written in 1975 by Judy Blume. And I know a lot of you that are maybe a little bit older, Generation X, Generation Z, millennials, you may have read a Judy Blume book or so in your language arts class, English class, literature class, when you were in middle school or high school. They took Judy Blume's book, even though it's 50 years old, and converted it so that it fit in with today's times. It just happens to be about a young Black man and a Black girl, and happens in the midst of Los Angeles. And it captures the feeling, the emotions of the book perfectly, even though everything does not happen even remotely close to how it happens in the book, because it's not about a Black couple in the book, and it's about, it's a Caucasian couple in 1975, different times. So all that to be said, I thought that was a perfect show for us to cover for Juneteenth. And I wanted to talk today about cultural impact, but it doesn't necessarily have to be cultural impact for the Black community. I will talk about some things that I feel like definitely impacted our community, but we will talk about some things that are just had huge cultural impacts, whether a TV or movie, for everyone. All right, hold on. What do we got going on here? What's going on? What
is going down, everybody? Sorry for the delay. Fighting some technical stuff, but we are up and running. That's going down? Happy Friday, everybody.
Happy Friday. Listen, people don't know, like, when we do this live thing, again, shameless plug, you need to be in Centel's Patreon so that you can be in the Discord. We do live shows all the time in the Discord, so you see them later. They'll show up on Patreon, and if you're in the Patreon, you get them like way early. But if you're on YouTube, we do those live with a live audience with us in Discord, and they're usually like they got the chat humming, and we have technical difficulties all the time. Technology is supposed to make things easier, and sometimes it does not. So I get it. How you doing, man?
Man, I'm good, man. I think it's a pretty hectic Friday as far as movies go. I think F1 drops this weekend. I want to say
next weekend.
Is it next weekend? Okay,
yeah.
okay.
Oh,
okay.
No. I know. I'm waiting.
Okay,
I'm waiting because I'm jealous. If y'all don't know this, like, Centel be out here in these streets. He is like a professional journalist, reviewer, and all that, and he gets to go to the premieres of all the movies super early. So yeah, earlier this week he went to a premiere of F1 a week and a half or 2 weeks early, and I'm lightweight jelly. Lightweight jelly. He also went to the premiere of 28 Years Later a few days back. Yeah, I'm not jealous of that one. You can have that one. You can have that out. It's not for me.
Yeah. I'm sorry. I kind of like cocked my gun was when it wasn't time to let off. I thought it was coming out this weekend. I was just about to say, yo, make sure everybody go see F1 because I think it's a pretty solid film.
You good. Tell him. Let's tell him because unfortunately, unless and which may actually happen, which Centel may do one himself next week, a live stream. I will be out. I'm trying to take a little vacay with my kids. I haven't been on a vacation. It's crazy. I haven't been on a vacation in 4 years. Just life, finances, a whole lot of stuff. I ain't been nowhere in a minute. So because of that, I may constantly remind you, hey, hit the super chat because daddy need a new pair of shoes. No, I don't actually. But it's not buying diapers done. I just trying to go out of town, take my kids. It's gonna be productive too. My kids are gonna do a couple college visits. My two oldest kids are gonna do college visits. So just a way to get away for a while. So I'm trying to work hard before I leave, trying to stack this content. So
yeah, no, I'm not mad at that. You're about to get your damn what's it called, the National Lampoon's vacation on. You better take them to Wally World. I wonder if that movie still kind of holds up. So I'm looking at some of the stuff that's already out. Let's see. Number 1 is How to Train Your Dragon. Did you have any interest in that one? I was just curious.
I actually for Father's Day, I took my kids to the drive-in and we saw How to Train Your Dragon.
What'd you think?
And I thought it was excellent.
Really? Okay, good.
For a live-action remake. Now, I was informed that the studio said in doing the live-action remake, the studio wanted to be pretty much a one-for-one for the animated.
How do you feel about that? About them not trying to separate themselves from the original product, from the original work?
I don't know, because there is a level of separation with that animation. When people can come in and lend their voice talent's cool, but when you see their actual face and you see them, it's a little bit different. I enjoyed the actors and actresses that were in the movie quite a bit. The thing about it is I forget sometimes. I have 4 kids. So my 3 kids are all teenagers, and then I have a 9-year-old. And so all 4 of the kids were at the drive-in seeing it. All of my older kids, we've seen like all the animated How to Train Your Dragon movies.
Okay.
So I look at my 9-year-old and he's like, Dad, I really liked that. That was really good. I was like, okay, good, son. You know what I'm saying? I liked it too. I really enjoyed it. I was like, how did you like it? Did you like this or the animated one more? He just looked at me. He said, Dad, I've never seen the animated one. And I was like,
oh no, that's classic.
And then my other kids, my teenagers heard, and they was like, you're failing as a father. How dare you? I was like, I forget, I showed y'all because y'all were close to the same age. He's so much younger.
Yeah.
There's so much that I don't know whether he's seen it or not. So yeah, he's never seen it.
Oh wow. Oh yeah. Wow. Yeah, I definitely felt some kind of way about the remake. I don't know if I'm really liking the live action stuff as much as the originals. I don't know if they hit in the same way. I haven't seen Lilo and Stitch, and right now that's outdoing everybody's expectations. And I
will tell you this:
I heard that they took some liberties regarding that story. But the flip side of that is, even though I might not be somebody who's a true blue fan of the retelling of the story, Lilo and Stitch's numbers themselves proves otherwise. That the younger generation is like, no, that's fine. You can take some celebrities as you want, and you can still make money. Because I want to say it's already like 500 something million already over that.
Last I heard, it was like 800 something million. I think it was close to $1 billion, like worldwide or whatever. So
yeah,
I don't know what it was domestically, but so my oldest son is the only one of us who's went and seen Lilo and Stitch. He loved Lilo and Stitch. He went and saw it, and he came home and he was so disappointed. He was upset. And he said, even if it had been 1-for-1, that'd have been cool. He said, but some of the liberties that they took, the stories, the changes to the story, he said, yeah, I'm not with it. Not with it at all. And once he explained one of those changes, I was like, oh, hell no. I don't want to see that. Because, you know, last I remember, Ohana means family. And if you change that in the story, I don't want to see that.
Now, it's also my understanding that that a lot of the Hawaiian vernacular, the words is being used, have multiple meanings. Like aloha means hello and goodbye at the same time. So
no, I mean,
I've heard that that's kind of like they went kind of like that way for like a double meaning. I don't know. I'm not Hawaiian. I don't speak the language, but that's what I've heard is kind of like the reason why.
But I'm saying the entire premise, what made the animated Lilo and Stitch, what made it, I mean, I'm not saying it was like a tearjerker or anything like that, but what made it heartfelt?
Yeah.
They removed the heart from it in the live action. I don't know. Again, those are one of those things that those of us that, you know, Gen Z, Gen X, millennials, whatever, that saw the animated, you know, may feel some kind of way because it meant something to us. And you changed the entire premise of the story, the entire why of the story. Yeah, I absolutely feel some kind of way. But, you know, like I said, it's almost at $1 billion. So somebody likes it. So
it's at right now, according to IMDb, is at $864 million. So regardless of how we feel about it, people spent their money and said something otherwise. So there's that.
Yeah, I have no wants of it. So today I wanted us to talk about I was just thinking about Juneteenth being a new, fairly new, maybe even soon to become extinct holiday. And what I heard, I was listening to the Breakfast Club the other day, and they were talking about, you know, well, what are you going to do on Juneteenth? And no one really had anything because there's no cultural reference. There's no, you know, like on the 4th of July, you barbecue. On Halloween, you put on a costume and you trick or treat. On Juneteenth, it's like there's no set, this is what we do. You know, it's a day off work. It's like, oh. So it made me think about, okay, what we do. But I thought about what TV shows and what movies have had cultural significance, cultural impact, not only on us because at first I thought Black community, you know, Juneteenth. But then I was like, well, no, because there's some that had impact on me that are not necessarily Black community specific. So what are some of the biggest movies that had like true cultural impact and significance?
What, to Juneteenth?
No, just in general. Juneteenth was how I started this thought process. It's like, oh, okay. Like for instance, I remember as a boy, the first one that had real cultural significance to me was Star Wars. Like, I remember hearing.
Hold on. Yeah. I'm trying to give me a moment. What's the correlation? Because you talking Juneteenth and now you're talking Star Wars. So I'm trying to figure out the correlation. How does that correlate?
No, I'm talking about what we do. I started thinking about this behind Juneteenth and about cultural significance, because there's no culture set up with this specific holiday.
Okay, all right, I'm with you.
And then my first thought was, okay, what are some culturally significant TV shows and movies to the Black community? But then I thought, well, no, what are some TV shows and movies that have cultural significance regardless of community? Now, I'm definitely going to come back to that fit Juneteenth. But like I said, my example,
my bad. I couldn't connect the dots.
My example, like my first one, and what I was saying by cultural, because a lot of people might be like, well, what do you mean by cultural impact or whatever? The first one for me, cultural impact, was the phenomenon that was called Star Wars. For whatever reason, I don't know. I remember as a kid, Star Wars had me in a chokehold. Like, everything, anything Star Wars. And there were plenty of other properties out there, but Star Wars was that one for me as a little kid. And I remember someone talking about the way that they did movies back in those days. I think Star Wars came out in 77. They said the way that they did movies back in that day is so much different. Star Wars was the one that started where they released movies nationwide. Like Star Wars released in one theater somewhere in California, released in one theater, and it sold out. It was like sold out for a week. Like there was lines around the block, like every showing or whatever showing was, lines around the block. That was one of the things that the studios, everybody kind of took notice. And I don't know if it was the one, I think it was the one that said, okay, well, what if we duplicated that? If the people here love this movie that much, what if we showed this same movie in every theater across the country? That was cultural impact. People loved it so much. It almost sparked the idea for, simultaneous release across the country, megaplexes, all of that type of thing. So that was just the thing. Yes, Star Wars has had me in a chokehold since day one.
All right, so I just made a quick list. There's a couple of them. When you're talking about cultural impact, I think for the modern day time, for modern day era, I think the largest cultural impact of a movie that I've seen, the last big one that really made a shift, was Black Panther. I think it's something about the community coming together and turning it into an event. It was bigger than an actual movie. It was this thing is, what are you doing this Friday night in order to show your love for this? That's why I love Coogler so much. You know, he's not just making art, he's changing the culture. So Black Panther is probably the last big one that I could think of that had like a big effect. The next one before that, I think, was Malcolm X, another one of Coogler's favorite films of all time. Something about that, I think I was like in the 8th grade when that came out, around then, and it made people want to do their history, want to kind of like look things up, and actually like made people want to read. I know a lot of people in my circle, let me only speak in my circle, a lot of people in my circle just weren't really weren't interested in digging in a little bit deeper to learn a bit more about their own cultural history. After Malcolm X came out, people was reading everything. It was probably one of the first times I had seen in my lifetime where I had seen a shift, how a movie could actually like change a culture. The other one, as far as just in cinema in general that I could think of, was The Wizard of Oz, because I think it was even though there had been color projects before then, The Wizard of Oz, and telling this, like, it was that time period's Matrix, the Matrix. Like when the Matrix came and blew everybody's mind and was like, oh my God, what is this thing that I'm seeing? The Wizard of Oz was that for cinema just in general, because it was still kind of like a thing that not everybody did. It was like because not everybody had theaters, for one. So if you were lucky enough to live in a city that had a theater and you saw The Wizard of Oz and had a full-blown cinematic experience where you changed that shift from black and white to color and then being a whole different world, cinema was never the same again after that. The next one that I could think of, actually before Malcolm X, that had a really big impact, was Do the Right Thing. Because it was kind of like Spike Lee coming to show the cinematic world, black people can do this and do it well. And then the very first cultural shift that I could think of in cinema and film is In the Heat of the Night, when Sidney Poitier slapped the shit out that white man, and literally had to run for his life, like damn near had to hide out. I mean, and I said it with vigor in my throat because he did too. Because in case you didn't know, he played that scene was so pivotal. This is real. This is for real. The very first dog my family ever owned, his name was Mr. Tibbs. That's how pivotal that moment was. In case you don't know why, Mr. Tibbs, in the deep South, he's trying to help solve a crime, and he's trying to question this this established white man asking him some questions of what the case is, and the white man was upset, and he slapped Sidney Poitier. Now you gotta keep in mind this is the 60s, and there's a certain stigma that goes on with, you know, how black people need to act around white folks. And when Sidney Poitier was pitched the idea of what does this character do after this moment, and Sidney is like, I'm gonna hit him back. And people were shocked, like the writer, the director, everybody like that. They had to call the studio and be like, hey, we got to run this by you because Sidney might hit a white man on film. Everybody, and Sidney was like, either I hit him or I walk. He was like, I'm not about to sit there and let this character get disrespected. So when it happened, it was a smack heard around the world. Like people were shocked on set. I mean, even though you're living in a fictional world and there's a veil of this script, because Sidney really hit this dude. Like, and he talked to the dude. The white guy was like, "Yeah, it's cool. You know, I get it. It's for the art. This, that, and the third." He smacked the shit out that dude. And then people found out, like in the little town, little area where they were shooting, because it was a thing. It's like, you know, people had a hard time separating art from the truth, and they was like, "Yo, this white dude just smacked this white dude on set."
No, they said we gotta get him.
Yeah, Sidney had to hide. But not only is that culturally significant, then it went out to the movie theaters, and people didn't know how to act. Like, it was like, how dare, you know, a black man put their hands on a white dude? And although Sidney is correct, like you're not gonna hit me and I'm not gonna get my lick back. You know, that's just not gonna happen. It changed everything, and it was probably, even though Sidney was a superstar before then, just for the simple fact of who he is, that shot him into a trajectory that no other black artist had ever seen from that moment. So I know I took the microphone for a really long time, but those are a few of the more cultural shifting projects that changed the flow of everything.
Well, we're gonna get into, you know, and talk about some yeah, you're right. That I've never seen In the Heat of the Night, never seen it. I have seen the memes and the reels and the shorts of that scene, though. I've seen that scene. He slapped shit out that. Dude slapped him. He hard off slapped the shit out of him.
Quick, too. It was.
And I remember the dude looked over at the little police sheriff dude or whatever. He said, "Did you see that black man or whatever?" He said, he just hit me. He said, "What you gonna do about it?" And he was himself was like, I don't know what to do. You know, and I know it's a movie, but it almost seemed like that happened in real life.
Yeah.
It was like everybody on the set, once it happened, I think, you know, the people that had the table read, I'm sure they knew it was coming, but when it actually comes, it's like, oh shit, he did it for real. Like, oh, I'm supposed to act now. What is my motivation? Oh my God. I want to just before we bring in Frank, I want to talk about a couple that you talked about.
Okay.
Black Panther was absolutely a cultural phenomenon, and I want to say there was a cultural phenomenon for the black community, because it was. We had black superheroes before that, but not like Black Panther. Black Panther, I remember my church took over a entire theater for a Saturday. We rented out the theater for, you know, whatever, like the last two showings of the night or whatever. And it was almost it was Wakanda in the movie theater. Once you came in, a lot of people were dressed up, and I didn't know if we were in Wakanda or Zamunda. I was confused. I was like, you know, we could be looking for Prince Hakeem. Either way, they had local musicians playing like kind of a black, like folk music, not really blues-ish, but, you know, they had local musicians playing. They had local like slam poetry artists reciting things. They had artists in there making things. They had different vendors set up selling things, giving information. And then we went to the theaters. When we went into the theaters, like every theater, it's like, okay, Black Panther showing at 8 o'clock. If there was 10 theaters, we had all 10 of them. All 10 of them were showing Black Panther, like, because it was pretty much, I don't know, they might have had like 12 theaters. We had 10 of them, you know, and the other people was like, what the hell is going on? That look on their face is like, we just came to see, you know, I don't know, whatever other movie was out in 2018 that, you know, we had taken over the theater, and it was an event. And I know that my church wasn't the only one that done that. I know that there were community organizations that people had done that all over the country. I loved how it shocked Marvel, you know, and those that have been crying for years that, you know, a Black character, a Black lead like that won't sell a film, especially overseas. It shot up to $1 billion quick, and is one of the most successful movies in the entire MCU run. It was that, and you want to be like, okay, it was Ryan Coogler, with Chadwick Boseman, you know, you had Angela Bassett, like you had Michael B. Jordan, like you had all these perfect storms. How Forrest Whitaker was in it, like you had all these things that, but no, it was. So here's another moment that I saw on TV. It wasn't a TV show, wasn't a movie, but this is what I liken it to. Few years before that, I'm gonna say 10 years before that, when I saw with my own two eyes, they had elected this little senator from Illinois named Barack Obama president. That was a cultural moment. I don't give a shit. Like I one of those things that I didn't think that I would ever see in my lifetime. I know my parents, my mom never thought she would see it in her lifetime. And I was like, wait, I know we didn't like Lil Bush, but we didn't like him so much that we elected a Black man president. The hell is going on? I was like, my God, you know, and it's one of those things that, you know how you grow up and you're told that you can do anything, you can be anything you want. And you know, from the moment you hear that sentence, that's a lie. I can't be president. You know, I knew in that moment, I could tell my kids that. I didn't even have kids yet. Yes, I did. My oldest son was born. I knew I could tell my kids, you actually can't be anything. You can actually be. They elected a Black man. Get out of here. Like, you know, and it
didn't sound like BS anymore. You know?
But you know, in 2008, I don't know how much the country's changed since 2008. And, you know, he rocked two terms, and, you know, but it was a huge cultural moment. I'm gonna bring up one more before we bring in Frank and Sherelle, who are in the back. And I've heard you talk about this, and it had the same impact on me. I just was a little bit too chicken shit to roll with it.
Okay.
One of the TV shows that had a huge impact on me was A Different World.
Oh, yes.
I was intelligent, but I wasn't really familiar at that time, really with the, just because of my own trauma and the things that was going on in my family. When I first started to focus on college, it was A Different World that made me really look at it. It's like, oh, hold on, wait a minute. What the HBCU? What is that? Historically Black colleges and universities? Hold on. They got that. And just the fact that you can let your guard down and just be who you are naturally all day, every day. Be around other people that look like you and want to learn what you want to learn, and that stood for excellence without you having to go into a classroom and prove yourself every day. Even though my grades are higher than everybody's, I constantly have to prove how intelligent I am. It's almost like every day they think it's a fluke. Today is the day that he gonna come up stupid. No, damn it. Or, you know, well, what about this? What about slavery? Rakai, we need you to answer. We not a monolith. I don't answer for the Black people, damn it. Don't even know them. Like, so A Different World was everything. And it is, I try to live a life without regrets, but one of my great regrets is that I never went to a HBCU. Unfortunately, I followed the scholarships and followed my money, and I should have went to a HBCU. So yeah, if I can get my money up, this little trip we take next week, I'm gonna have my kids are going to tour. My two oldest are going to tour an HBCU for maybe that's where they go to school at. And that I'm proud of. I didn't do it, but hopefully one, if not all my kids will get to. So
okay.
All right. And we're having a lot of great answers in the chat. And I haven't put them up because it's stuff that we're going to bring up later. Yeah. So I was like, ooh, I don't want to jump into that yet. So let me bring up Frank and Sherelle. Hey, Frank. Hey, Sherelle.
Okay.
What is going down, y'all?
Hey.
Yeah, another Friday. Thank y'all for showing up again. And I guess the question on started. What has there been any particular movie or TV show that's had you felt had significant cultural impact, whether on your community or on the world in general?
I think Doctor Who had an undeniable impact in general on sci-fi. And that was even pre-Star Wars, pre-Star Trek.
Yeah.
But and that was a progressive show way back then too. So, but another one that's undeniable and it completely transformed television was Twin Peaks.
Oh, that's a good one.
That is a good one.
That's a very, very good one.
Now, yeah, Frank, can you explain that a little bit for people who are unfamiliar with Twin Peaks and why did that have the cultural impact you think it did?
Back in the before, it came out in 1990, and prior to that, if you presented a mystery in a show, it got wrapped up by the end of the episode. And this show was like, all right, we're gonna give you a mystery right out of the gate, and the whole point is not to answer it; it's to explore what that mystery caused for the people that it impacted.
That's not a bad explanation. Yeah. I'm sorry. Go ahead, brother. Please finish.
But it was unheard of at the time, and the network kept pushing for that mystery to be solved, and eventually it came down to you gotta answer it now or we're canceling it. So they after a season and a bit, it finally got answered, and then the show was in the situation where it's well, what do we do from here? So they tried to create a new mystery, and I liked what they came up with, but it demolished what the show was founded on, and then eventually got canceled anyways.
Yeah, I remember that the big phenomenon is exactly what you're talking about. I was like, wait a minute, there's a mystery and it's an ongoing mystery. Who does that?
No show prior to that point was thinking of telling an overarching story that just keeps going. Every show had that episodic feel where at the end of every episode they hit that reset button. You can watch any episode at all and be like, yeah, I know what's going on because there's nothing to know.
Yeah, I remember that the only other, besides I remember everyone talking about Twin Peaks, I've never seen it. I remember hearing about it, and I remember the people talking about the way it was shot. It was like, oh, this is different. The only other one that I remember that was a big cultural phenomenon back in the day, not because they did it over the season, but because they did it as a cliffhanger at the end of a season, was what was the name of that damn show? Was it Dallas? Who Shot JR?
Who Shot JR?
Yeah, he got shot like Ghost on Power, and it was a big deal because they did it as a cliffhanger, and that's all people could talk about for the next whenever it came back on. Was who shot him and all these things, and you got to think about it. This is pre-internet, all of that. That was a huge phenomenon. I remember it was on the cover of every magazine where people had their speculations.
Yeah.
So it's amazing how things change.
Now, correct me if I'm wrong. Either that was the highest rated TV episode of all time, and then MASH beat it, or was it MASH that was the highest rated episode of all time for season finale of MASH, and then Who Shot JR beat? I think it was
MASH first, and then Who Shot JR.
And then Who Shot JR. Okay. Yeah.
No, because MASH came out of the 60s, 70s, you know, Vietnam.
Yeah.
Yeah, it held the record for the longest time.
Yeah, like for the longest, like he was beating Super Bowls, and well, there was no such thing as a Super Bowl back then, but you know what I mean. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
MASH held the throne for a while.
Mm-hmm. All right. Thanks for that one, Frank. Sherelle, okay. You got one? Hold on, because yes, I see him.
Oh yeah. Go for it.
All right.
Yeah, took away the waitresses.
Yes, our friend Michael Anderson is back. Thank you, Michael. Did we get a chance to watch 5 Days of Memorial yet? No, we did not.
No, not yet.
No, it's on the list. And here's the crazy thing is, our list is long, and we're trying to work out, especially stuff that we're going to get done before I take this little vacay, and all of the stuff that we're going to have to do as soon as I hit the ground, you know, coming back. One of the thoughts I had today too, I was like, ooh, am I going to take my new Better Business computer,
the BBL?
Taking my BBC. Was I going to take it with me on the trip? And I think the answer is yes. I can't think about leaving at home. I was like, listen, I may have to get something done while I'm out of town. I know it's unfortunate, but that's just part of my workflow now. So, wow. All right, thank you for that, Michael.
Oh, he doubled down. Wait a second.
Yeah.
Oh, hey, Michael Anderson again. You know, we're gonna go ahead and give him some love once again. Yeah.
Listen, thank you so much again, Michael. That was purely experimental, kind of mixing the reaction and the deep dives into doing the breakdown of Sinners, and we had a lot of fun doing it. So thank you. So for everyone, because we had a nice little clip of people that watched part one, and hopefully, you know, people still watch part one, part two. So
yeah, you all were on it with the comment section was bananas. That kind of took us by surprise a little bit. I wasn't expecting the engagement to be that crazy. So thank you all for listening to us, you know, fawn over one of our favorite films ever. I know it made your top 5 of all time.
Yeah.
It's hard to argue against it. It's really up there for me. It may be in my top 5 as well, the more I sit and think on it. So to sit there and just have like a cool little conversation and just break down all the cool things that we love and enjoy about that, and to actually dip my toes in Rakai's world a little bit was tons of fun.
Yeah, and unfortunately, it was actually on my list too for cultural impact, because it is clear that Sinners had not only a cultural impact for us, but just the movie itself had an impact on America too. Because I was kind of surprised, because usually you see these movies and it's considered a black movie or urban or however they categorize it, but it had a huge impact just on how well it was done on everyone in America. I don't think it's had the same impact overseas, only because overseas there's so many things that are nuanced that are very American, and people overseas are like, wait, what the hell is happening now? Like, they don't understand. It's like, oh, you know, they came to it and it's like, all right, we're gonna see a vampire movie. That first 45 minutes, they're like, okay, what's going on? Where's no vampires, and this whole the dance, the music scene, that shit is cool, but I don't get it. And so there's a lot of nuances that are 100% American. That's why it's resonated in America as opposed to overseas. So
yeah, big facts. It unfortunately it did. It made a whole bunch of money. I think it's like 300 something million, right? 350 million. I think it's made.
Yeah,
It's that 361 gross. and just US and Canada was 275. So the international impact, like you said, wasn't as big as, you know, I'm sure they'd hoped it had been, but it still went above, way above and beyond anybody's expectations. Right. It was a cultural success, like you said.
Yeah. So, Sherelle, did you have one, a TV show?
Oh, I got
movie?
a few.
All right.
Let's hear it.
My first one was Reading Rainbow.
Oh, that's a really,
Like, first
really
I like
good
that.
one.
I like good pick.
And we got to learn everything about
That's a good
everything.
one.
Got the kids reading, like little kids, bigger kids, like even older kids I know, they were like, I still watch Reading Rainbow. So that was a big one because I never.
Did y'all? So obviously Sherelle did. So Frank or Chantel, did y'all watch Reading Rainbow?
Did I watch Reading Rainbow? Walk over there and choke you, boy.
I've seen a bunch of episodes, but not every episode.
Oh yeah, absolutely, and arguably the greatest opening musical number of all time. Like, come on, yes. oh, hold on, he got that look on his face. Oh, don't tell me you. Oh God,
Don't tell me you've never seen Reading Rainbow.
Oh God, no. Oh God, no.
Yeah. Oh God.
You never watched Reading Rainbow?
No, I didn't.
That's one of those ones where you watch one episode just so you have an idea what it's about.
No, you know what? You're about to be on punishment. You're gonna take your soundboard.
I know the first season right now is on Prime Video, so you need to watch that.
Oh my
Okay,
God.
here's the thing. I am ultra familiar with Reading Rainbow, but I think it's one of those things that by the time I caught on to it, remember I was a military brat.
Yeah.
So we moved and especially like when I lived overseas, that Reading Rainbow wasn't on in Germany.
That's
just
fair.
wasn't no internet. It wasn't on in Germany. They did have. I remember watching Electric Company. If y'all remember that,
yeah.
I remember watching
Morgan
Electric
Freeman's
Company,
debut.
and I only watched Electric Company because they had a Spider-Man on Electric Company.
Yo.
I remember Sesame Street. Didn't rock with Sesame Street like that, but you know.
I loved it though.
That one had a cultural impact.
Yeah.
And I think because I was a advanced, like talented and gifted student, by the time I got back and could actually watch Reading Rainbow, I didn't see the need. I wasn't learning to read. I was like, yeah, I'm past that shit. So I am familiar, and I was like, wait, is that Kunta Kinte?
Yep.
Yeah, so I do know about Reading Rainbow. I never watched it. So.
Yeah. My next one was Mr. Rogers' Neighborhood, but that's just because I love that shit. I still love that shit to this day.
He's my OG, triple OG. Yeah.
Like, yeah.
I do have one more show, but I'll wait for any thoughts to be.
I did watch a little bit of Mr. Rogers' Neighborhood. He was one of those things. I was like, he's just too damn nice in his little sweater. I was like, he's a serial killer.
No, he's like that in real life.
That's what I heard. I was like, he was genuinely like that.
If you guys haven't seen it, I recommend for a watch.
His movie,
Tom Hanks movie.
Yeah.
I heard that was really good.
Yeah,
I haven't seen it either. I haven't seen it either. All I remember of Mr. Rogers' Neighborhood, I remember Eddie Murphy doing the parody of it on Saturday Night Live. I was like, this is great.
I have not seen that, but now I need to.
That's okay. Rocky Matters. Listen, listen. I was a military brat, and we lived all over the world. And unfortunately, I missed a few things. You know, my bad. Like, you know. All right, y'all, thank you. We have went over time, but that means that we've been having a good time. So I want to thank everyone for showing up. I want to thank everyone, especially if you gave a super chat to help me and my little bambinos try to take this trip next week. Listen, he just ain't gonna quit. You know, I can't even get it out. Like, listen, Michael, I see you, my guy. Listen, I see you, bruh.
Mr. Anderson.
Yes. And just before, to say 106 in Park did have an effect on me. It was a culture impact, and I'm glad that they did the 25 year anniversary of 106 in Park on the BET Awards last week or whatever, or the week before, whenever that was. So yeah, I love 106 in Park. I love Rap City.
Shout out to Nanda Lewis.
Ooh, Mister. That was my shit.
Nanda Lewis. Yeah,
Nanda
she
Lewis.
couldn't tell me nothing about that, about Teen Summit. You couldn't tell me nothing about Nanda Lewis. I was just like, oh, that was wifey for sure. For sure. Yeah. R.I.P. to her though.
Yeah.
Yep, R.I.P. She had
Fought
cancer.
the good fight. Yeah, she fought the good fight.
Yeah.
She had been sick for a while.
Mm-hmm.
Unfortunately, yeah.
Yeah. No man knows the time nor the hour, so the day nor the hour. So again, thank you to everyone who showed up today. Thank you for everyone who gave a super chat. Thank you to everyone who was in the comments. The comments gave us life, and it extended this. We usually don't talk this long, but the comments just kept coming fast and furious, and we thank you for engaging with us. Thank you, Frank. Thank you, Sherelle. And as always, thank you, Centel. So you guys just make sure that you pay attention. Centel may take this time, or he may take the week down next week. I will be out. I'll be trying to be on somebody's college campus, just lamenting about how much money this shit's about to cost. So we need full scholarships. That's all I know. I don't care. My kids can go to school on the damn moon as long as they come with a full scholarship. Don't shit. Go to school in Wakanda, Atlantis, they go to school where the dark side live at, Apocalypse. I don't give a shit. Does it get a full scholarship? You got a full scholarship? They go to school there. Go to school with Thanos. I don't give a shit.
She over there in Latvia building doom bots. Hey, it was a free ride.
Whatever.
It was a free ride.
Yeah. Daddy, I've never heard of the University of Andor. I don't give a shit. You go to school there.
It's free.
You building stuff for the Empire. Okay. Yeah, I need a full ride. That's all I need. All right, y'all. Well, thank you much. And as always, I didn't see my little stuff, but I was like, they know it.